This mysterious story took place in early 2020. A 16-year-old girl disappeared under strange circumstances, but solving the case only made it more confusing. Despite the police having closed the investigation, the case remains one of the most mysterious in recent years. In this video, we will tell you the chilling story of Selina Shelley Faye and try to answer the main question: did the police really solve this case, or did they cover up what actually happened to her? A Native American, Selina Not Afraid was born on June 18, 2003, on the Crow Indian Reservation in Bighorn County, Montana, in a town called Hardin. Those who knew her described her as a kind, cheerful, and very active girl. She loved playing basketball, had many friends, but her main passion was horseback riding. Selina was seriously considering opening her own farm after graduating from high school, as well as competing in professional horse racing. She maintained a positive attitude despite the series of terrible tragedies her family had endured. Originally, there were 5 children in the family. In 2014, Selina's 11-year-old twin sister committed suicide, leaving no hint as to what prompted her to take such a tragic step. In 2017, Selina's brother was killed by a police officer, and in the same year, Selina's older sister was killed in a hit-and-run accident. She was walking along the road when an unknown driver struck her and fled. Thus, only 2 of the 5 children remained. It's hard to believe how much pain and suffering one family can endure. Alas, the tragedies in their lives did not end there. Selina spent New Year's Eve 2020 with friends. They went to a party at a country house where they stayed until the next day. On January 1st, Selina and her 5 friends, which included 4 young men and 1 young woman, drove back to Hardin in a car. From here, the story becomes strange, to say the least. Nevertheless, these are the official details from the case file, and we will first familiarize ourselves with them. So on the way to town, the car broke down. The driver parked at the nearest rest stop and tried to fix the car. He managed to temporarily fix the problem, but said the car could break down again at any moment. For this reason, he asked Selina and her friend Orlando to wait at the rest stop until his mother could drive over and pick him up, as it was less than a 15-minute drive for her. The story sounds extremely doubtful. Why did the friends decide to drive on, leaving them at a rest stop in the middle of nowhere? But that's how it was, according to the driver. There is also a version that after fixing the car, the driver had to start moving immediately or the car risked stalling again, and Selina and her friend had wandered too far away, so the boys decided to leave without them, sending one of their mothers for them. But this version is not reflected in police documents and is only reported by local media. What follows is indeed confirmed information. The driver's mother did arrive at the rest stop to pick up the girls, but they were no longer there. Thinking they might be walking around nearby, the woman started looking for them. At one point, she found Orlando sitting in a ditch, looking lost. Her shoes were missing, and her legs were covered in scratches. Selina was nowhere to be seen. The shocked woman tried to find out from Orlando what had happened, but she claimed to have no memory of how she got there and didn't even know where she was. She then contacted Selina's parents, told them about her disappearance, and they immediately called the police. The first thing the police did was talk to Orlando. She still couldn't remember the details of what happened. She only told detectives that she saw Selina simply walk away from the road into a field and never saw her friend again. Hearing this story, Selina's parents couldn't understand why their daughter would walk off in an unknown direction for no apparent reason. The problem was that the temperature outside was low, and the girl was clearly not dressed for the weather. She was wearing a light jacket, a sweater, and jeans. I think you've already gathered how strange this whole story is, but this is just the beginning. That same day, the police organized a large-scale search within a radius of about 6 kilometers, approximately 3.7 miles, from where the girl was last seen. Hundreds of people participated, including K-9 units, mounted police, helicopters, ATVs, and even drones with thermal sensors. The FBI also quickly got involved.
Perhaps the case received this attention due to the grim statistics in Montana. Native Americans go missing much more frequently than people from other demographics. Most often, the police investigate these cases with maximum reluctance and sometimes refuse to investigate them at all. Local residents regularly protest, trying to get through to the federal government, but Indigenous people continue to disappear. In addition, Selina's relatives immediately turned to news outlets for help to publicize the story and speed up the police work. News of Selina's disappearance spread quickly throughout the town, and hundreds of volunteers joined the search. Most of them were also Native Americans, including the students from her school. Adults helped comb the area while teenagers put up flyers and spread information about their classmates' disappearance throughout the town. But the search yielded no results. Of course, the police inspected the car Selina and her friends were driving home in and also questioned all of the friends who were with her that day. And here, things are no less strange. Investigators did not release any information related to this. Perhaps the friends told them nothing useful, but the public was waiting for some details. Then the police decided to work on another theory. What if Selina was abducted from the rest stop? This theory contradicted her friend's story, who claimed Selina had walked into a field. But the abduction theory gained some support. A witness reported seeing a green car with Wyoming license plate near the rest stop. The information and searches were yielding no results, so most people began to consider the abduction theory as the primary one. Then reports started pouring into the police that people had seen the girl in various places, but all these leads turned out to be useless. The police reviewed the surveillance camera footage from the places where Selina was allegedly seen, and she wasn't there. The police also tried to track the girl's smartphone location, but they were unsuccessful. It was turned off. The investigation continued in this state of uncertainty until January 20th. On that day, 3 weeks after Selina's disappearance, the most mysterious event in this entire story occurred. Her body was finally found. And where do you think she was all this time? Her body was found just 1 kilometer from that same bus stop. The body was discovered by the Bighorn County Sheriff, who had a Native American name, Big Hair. Let's refresh our memory on the key points. Hundreds of volunteers on foot, dozens of mounted riders, K-9 units, a helicopter, drones with thermal sensors, and a search radius of about 6 kilometers. Despite all this, the body is found 1 kilometer from the stop. At this point, everyone had one question: how could they have missed it? It is also worth noting that the place where Selina was found is practically a bare field. The Bighorn County Sheriff stated that according to the preliminary version, death was due to natural causes. On February 28th, more than a month after the body was discovered, the results of the medical examination came in. The report, signed by 4 doctors, cited the cause of death as hypothermia. All of this raised even more questions and distrust from the public. Not only were the search parties unable to find Selina in an open field for 20 days, but she also allegedly died of hypothermia 1 kilometer from the road. Let's look at the temperature that day. According to a local news site that publishes daily weather information, on the afternoon of January 1st, the temperature was about 8 degrees Celsius, 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Selina was wearing a light jacket and a sweater. While this was a bit insufficient for a long and comfortable stay outside, could a healthy 16-year-old girl freeze to death? After all, just 1 kilometer away was a highway with regularly passing cars where she could have sought help. What events would have had to unfold for the girl to consciously wait for her death in one spot and manage to freeze at 8 degrees Celsius? Of course, all these questions were directed at the police. Investigators stated that the drones and helicopter were hindered by poor visibility that day due to heavy fog, and the foot and other patrols simply didn't notice Selina even though they passed within a few hundred meters of her. As for the dogs, they were service dogs, not search dogs. Moreover, they were kept on a leash because many strangers were involved in the search, and the police were afraid to let the dogs loose lest they attack someone. For Selina's family, as well as the entire Native American community, these excuses seemed completely unconvincing, and they demanded a thorough investigation into her murder. To them, it looked as if the girl's body was placed there after the first wave of the search had ended. But there is one problem here. The Bighorn County Sheriff, who led the police in this case and personally discovered Selina's body, has a very murky history. In 1995, when he was special officer, a Native American woman accused him of assault, but he denied the allegations and was not convicted. 2 years later, his service weapon was used in a murder, and the future sheriff was on trial again. There, he claimed his weapon had been stolen, and he had no connection to the case. All charges were dropped again, but what's strange is that he paid the victim's family a portion of the sum they demanded in a lawsuit. Later, he was on trial again for assault, but again received no serious punishment. It's not surprising that the community was in no hurry to take this man at his word. Despite the FBI's involvement in the case,
Selina's relatives and acquaintances began to suspect that the sheriff himself might be involved in the girl's murder and the subsequent cover-up. But this raises another question. Even if we imagine that the sheriff grabbed Selina that day and took her to an unknown location, what next? 4 medical experts signed a report that clearly stated there are no signs of violent death on the girl's body. They could only confirm death from hypothermia. Given the FBI's involvement, could the sheriff have forced 4 doctors to hide something? Or did he keep Selina outside until she actually died of hypothermia? It sounds doubtful. There is another version of what happened. On New Year's Eve, the teenagers were drinking, as indicated by the initial toxicology report, but no one knows what they did the next day. Perhaps they continued to drink or took some illicit substances. As for alcohol, it's unlikely to be related to the case. A person would need to drink a very large amount to simply walk into a field, lie on the ground, and stay there long enough to die of hypothermia. Even considering Selina was only 16, this theory is hard to believe. However, the theory about illicit substances could explain a lot. First, let's remember Selina's friend who was sitting in a ditch without shoes with scratched legs. Then let's recall the extremely strange story about the broken-down car and the unclear reasons why the young men left the girls at a deserted rest stop. It's possible the teenagers did take something, and it was too much for the 2 girls' systems. The boys might have panicked and just left them at the stop. But this theory is seriously undermined by the fact that the driver did call his mother, who came to pick up the girls just 15 minutes later. Would he have done that if the girls were in an incoherent state? It's highly unlikely teenagers would involve their parents in such a situation. But there are several strange moments related to their group. First, Selina's friend posted several short videos on Snapchat from that trip. In one of the moments, someone is seen standing in front of the open hood of the car trying to fix something. At the same time, near the rear passenger seat, 2 boys are arguing aggressively about something. What was happening there is still unknown. All the people who were with Selina that day are silent. Moreover, 2 of them have moved to other states, and Orlando deleted her Facebook page. All of this is very strange. More than a year has passed, and none of them have answered the questions that still trouble the local Native American community and other concerned people. The police also provide no comments regarding the other teenagers. There is a strong impression that something is being carefully hidden in this story. In the end, we have a closed case where the official version seems too doubtful. According to it, Selina just walked into a field for no reason, wandered for a few hours, and then just lay down on the ground. After all, the police were on the scene within a few hours, and if she had continued to walk around the area, she would have certainly been noticed. Then hundreds of people with modern technology couldn't find her, and 20 days later, her body appeared a kilometer from the road. It looked as if she was placed there after the active phase of the search was over. Although the police assure that there were no tire tracks or other evidence near the site to suggest the body might have been moved, can the police be trusted in this case? Given the sheriff's history, one begins to seriously doubt whether the police investigation can be considered objective. However, the FBI was involved in the case, and they certainly would not cover for some provincial sheriff. As we can see, each version faces its own contradictions. Now, a year and a half later, the girl's family is still trying to find answers. Of their 5 children, only 1 son remains. They ask for their daughter's story to be shared so that they might have a chance at a new, fair investigation. What do you think really happened to Selina? Share your opinion in the comments and support the video with a like if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe to the channel to listen to these real and scary stories. Sometimes these stories end well, but more often badly. It's disturbing.